amazingly. And obviously, coming into this, you're having to live with the burden of, will it happen again? Will lightning strike again? How did you manage that? And let's talk about leaving the first film and sort of beginning the process of connecting with the character again for this one.
I think after you completed a movie and you've delivered it, and the audiences have come and the lights have gone down, it's theirs then. And for myself, and I think for actors, we move on, right? We shed that, we breathe that out, and then we go on to the next character. It's just the nature of the biz, of what we do, And so it's character to character to character, moment to moment to moment, experience to experience, different crews, different people, different everything. So it's a gift, you give it, and then you move on, and you hope it's well received. And yes, it was. So it's really to have another opportunity to maybe, as you say, hopefully that lightning will strike again. You don't know. Each time you go to work, it's on a journey like that. It's a faith walk. It's about faith. You read the script. You say, I connect. Ooh, the character. Oh, I think I can do something with it. You apply yourself. You give the full measure of your devotion. And sometimes it lands, and sometimes it doesn't. That you don't have that's up to you. But in this particular situation, just the most confidence that I can have that lightning might strike again is because of Ryan Coogler.
Yeah. Danai, what was your experience like?
In what sense?
This movie was, as global as it can get, and let's talk about the light and shine on Africa.
Yeah, that's definitely something that was very dear to me, and all of us. But I was raised in Southern Africa, in Zimbabwe, and sort of my whole life I was just saying this with Trevor Noah the other day, we just didn't see portrayals of what we grew up around, and the sort of complex, fascinating, very interesting people and experiences and history that we knew was ours. And so we spent a lot of time watching Western portrayals of various things, but we didn't get to see Black people on this sort of platform. We didn't get to see these types of stories, and we certainly didn't get to see African stories. So it was something I set out to do in my little way as a playwright, and definitely something that I was astounded to find that Marvel was setting out to do. So when they called me and I sat down with Ryan, I was floored by the plan that he had, and the imagery that he had in mind, the storytelling, the characters. When he described Okoye to me, I was floored, because this sort of thing my kid self dreamt of, watching Superman and Wonder Woman in Zimbabwe, my little dark brown self. So, I was floored to hear that this was the plan and this was actually happening. And then also the thing that was really powerful to me, long and short, I'll keep it short, but as a playwright, there was something I was researching historically about my country. And I realized there's something that's really bugged Africans like myself and various others that can manifest in a sort of a certain type of traditionalism, which is the fact that back then was when we were defining who we were. And then the assault of colonization came, and we'll never know who our modern selves might have become. And there's something about Wakanda that cuts through that and shows us this, though fictional, very hell yeah, probable version of what we could have been. And I think the idea of my character and how she's a protector of that was very easy for me to get into.
Tell us about, both of you, please. Tell us about the evolution of your character from part one going into this. Obviously, and then we're going to talk about the relationship between your two characters in this particular film. But Danai, why don't you continue and speak to how the character evolved from movie one to movie two?
Yeah, I mean, what what's great is that that's what's great about sequels, right? I mean, when they are great, is that you get to further expand, complexify. I know that's not a word, and you know, yeah, right, it makes sense. Explore a character, and that was very important, I feel, for characters that are this unprecedented to be seen on this platform. So to see these women now become something else, go through something else, and have to change, have to grow, have to struggle, have to fall, that it was it's so important. I think the first film, we see Okoye. She's very much, you know, she's in control pretty much most all times. I mean, she has to make a really tough decision around her marriage, but you know, she's largely very much in control of what's going on and what she wants to define as what she, and she's very at ease with that. And so there's sort of a power and a control and ease, but of course that can't be the same in this one. And yeah, you know, when Ryan told me her arc, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Does that have to happen? She likes her job. But
Whoa, 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 too. Does that have to happen? She loves her life. It's coming, right?
Yeah, no, it's that thing, right? Where it's like when you know, you're given that the image and you get it, but you're like, whoa, you know, like but you understand it as a narrative that allows for this rich tapestry to be built. So yeah, it was I was like, but then I really understood it, and I thought it was actually very important. Honestly, I was talking to a young lady today, a journalist, a black woman, and she was talking about the idea of how black women are constantly, you know, it's this, and we started getting a conversation about this strong woman trope that we carry around, and it means that we're not supposed to have a vulnerability, and we're supposed to always be tough and strong and handle it, and don't worry about her, you know what I mean? And I think what I really appreciate about the Okoye arc was that this was now Okoye is a strong woman in recovery. You know, she had to step out of that. She was taken out of that, and her sense of always having that control and being so, even the way she's talking to the queen, she's like, you know, I got this, let me take baby girl, we'll be all good. And she was wrong. And and you know, she had a consequence to that had her on her knees. And that type of undoing, it's important to see that vulnerability. It's important to undo that concept that black women have to always be tough and be strong and penitent. So, once again, I'll give that to Ryan. Though that was a tough day on set, man. I was like, I walked in there, I was like, well, it feels like a good day to get fired. You fired me so good.
Oh. I love you. But you got to go.
But you know, it felt like a heavy moment. That scene where, you know, the queen, you know, where you came in conflict with the queen. What was it like filming it?
It was a phenomenal day. It was a phenomenal day. Phenomenal room, and it was just filled with, you know, so much passion and emotion from, of course, here, the entire room, everything that had been built around it, you know. And for me, when you talk about tropes and the strong woman, I've always tried in various roles, like, yes, there is an inherent strength because we've had to be, but it's interesting to me when it's juxtaposed against that vulnerability. And that day, that moment was, you know, that, you know, Ramonda she is queen, she is sage, she is protector, you know, of this nation. She is mother, so she has all these various things going on, and she has to, you know, take care of business, but yet there's, at the base of it, you know, there's this well of sorrow and potential loss, you know, that's unimaginable. So
that scene was so powerful. My God, when you broke it down, you know, that's very powerful. Well, they're here, Happy to introduce
Come
Letitia.
on out here, good God Almighty.
Come on, you two.
And Brian Pugh.
Please excuse our lateness. I was in an interview for my brother. A production company. It was a great conversation, and we're coming from work. Mama, I'm sorry.
All is forgiven, darling.
Excuse me, General. Excuse me, sir.
Well, Ryan, congratulations again. When we started talking with Angela and Danai, of course, the first thing I wanted to know was about expectations. And given the critical and commercial success of the first movie, how did you step into this project knowing that a lot was riding on it? I mean, the Black Panther was a game changer. And so what was your approach in reassembling Wakanda for the world to see?
Yeah, I think we try our best to approach it the same way we approached the first one, with honesty and also grace, like towards ourselves, knowing that first film was something that probably wasn't gonna be repeated. You know, letting that be that, and telling a new story. I was honored, man. Like some of my favorite movies are sequels. You know, some sequels I saw coming up before I saw the first one. You know what I mean? Like I saw Aliens before I saw Alien 1. You know, and Terminator 2 I saw before I saw Terminator 1. You know what I mean? And I was like really like I was really excited for the opportunity, and I missed these guys, man. Like I missed them dearly. They were like we became very close to that last process. And I was looking forward to getting back in there with them.
Letitia, another question that we were just actually moving away from when you stepped in, so your arrival time was perfect. Talk about the evolution of your character from the first film into this one.
Well, it's a really beautiful opportunity to see a young woman grow, especially on a major platform like this, in a franchise that means so much to the world. And you know, when I first got the opportunity to play Shuri, the essence behind that was I just wanted to be of purpose, and I just wanted to give something to young people that felt accessible, but also inspirational and fun. And I just wanted to tell the truth. I wanted to just contribute alongside these amazing artists. And I was so appreciative of the way the response of Shuri was for the first film. Now in the second film, I understood that things were different. Not only were things different in my own life as Letitia processing what's going on, but also parallel to this young girl that we saw with this light and this energy and this spark. And her heart is broken. And I remember always speaking to Ryan, and it really comes from the writing, and it really comes from that connection that Ryan has with the characters in a deep way. Because he's sitting with the characters. We get to leave and do our own things, but he's sitting with these characters for years and just writing and making the world come alive. And it was really Ryan that was just like, you know, we want to see Shuri three-dimensional. You know, we want to see this arc. We want to see the ways in which she goes through womanhood, and we want to journey with her. And that was a beautiful challenge for me, because in my own life I've been going through that journey of womanhood, and it just felt fresh, and it just felt unique to kind of mess people up a bit, you know, for them to come to this and be like, oh, she's gonna be funny, she's gonna be cracking jokes, and be like, ooh, this is deep. And that was an opportunity for me to access the tools and the skills within myself as an artist, to be a vessel for deep emotions, sometimes very difficult, we're very grateful for that opportunity. So now we can go to the first film and come to this film and see the ways in which all of our characters actually have this beautiful arc and beautiful layers to them. And I think that's what makes this franchise very special.
You know, obviously a big part of this film, deals with the death of Chadwick, and how that impacted particularly this movie. But then you also had to deal with the COVID pandemic. So just one thing after the other. Talk about, coming back on set, or even before you arrived back in, with camera on, talk about just overcoming those two tremendous challenges. One, your lead character, namesake character is gone, and two, you're, having to film this during a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking about it like, cause it's really, it's a lot of ways you can think about it, but I found myself kind of oscillating between two things, and one was that we were in a very unique predicament, but the other way I would think about it is everybody's dealing with a version of this, like during that pandemic, everybody was lost somebody who was close to him, and everybody still had to find a way to keep going, we had to do things that we used to do with ease. It became complicated. I remember we was like washing our fruit and stuff. It was crazy, right? Like all of a sudden going to the grocery store was like, it was complicated. It was even more complicated than it was. And gathering with family had to be done through technology. Like it was. We were kind of watching the globe, deal with like a particular type of perseverance, and it took like a very specific type of adaptability. Working on their patience with things, and when I allow myself to think like that, I found I would think more positively, we gotta figure out a way to work. Everybody gotta figure out a way to work, you know what I mean? Like, and we gotta move on after losing this person who meant so much to us. And a lot of people were losing people who meant a lot to them, and in that thought process, I could like, wake up and navigate the day. But there was days when I was on the other side of it, it's like, how could this happen to us? How could we lose this dude at this time? And even in that, the blessing to end up in a situation like that is to be in a situation that's unique. You know what I mean? It was us who got to make that movie. It was us who got to spend that time with him in what would be the final years of his life. You know what I'm saying? So it was the whole thing was a blessing. Even it was a blessing in the pain. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of moved like that, and that kind of helped us be limber. You know what I'm saying? Like as things would come up, stops and starts, and I'm so proud of I'm proud of these three specifically. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm proud of what we was able to achieve as a group.
In a sweet way, I think we were able to accomplish what we were able to because we had known him, and because we could reflect on in hindsight or whatever, the strength that he exhibited, and the confidence, the leadership, the tenacity. And then when we learned what we learned, even though we were going through it, it was like, how can we not? How can we not be a strong trope? How can we not be strong? And even in that, here we are day to day to day, and there were some days it just felt like, whoa, this is heavy, this is hard, this is Sisyphus, but he made it look so effortless. And it's like, whew, respect, more respect, and keep going.
Another takeaway from the film, of course, are the relationship between these two communities of color. A lot of people are in the aftermath of seeing the movie, conversations about that. What do you hope comes out of those conversations in terms of how those two communities are presented in the film and how they manage to deal with each other, once we get to the conclusion?
Yeah, it was an honor for me to be able to tell this story, and being like a black man from California, these are cultures the cultures that we pulled from for representing these fictional cultures in the film are cultures that influenced my life, in its entirety. I grew up on like streets with Spanish names, you know what I mean? Like just being from the Bay Area, and I long for like more movies that reflect cultures like this, in conversation with each other, and it was something that we didn't take lightly. We did a lot of research on the first film and bringing Wakanda to life, and we tried to double that research 2 to 1 for Talcon, and we also tried to be like responsible, with this idea these cultures coming in conflict with each other during portions of the film, like as a filmmaker, when you make these types of movies, and I think both Panther 1 and Panther 2, like if we did our jobs right as filmmakers, what you're cheering for at the end of the movie is for the people to stop fighting, like not for like this character to kick this other character's ass or whatever, you know what I mean? So that was like the challenge for ourselves. It was like, how can we make a movie where, they stop fighting and you like, yay, like the same way, that would be if you killed the bad guy or whatever, you know what I mean? Because I think that the circumstance that we were pulling from is oftentimes with colonization, cultures can be pitted against each other for resources or just and there's usually a hand doing that, and so that was something that we tried to take on in the film, and if any kind of conversations come up out of it, any kind of conversations, I think it's a good thing,
Well, now it's out and it's a hit again. And it's also a very strong contender during this award season. With each of you being very much in the conversation. So what does that feel like? Danai?
When I think about the way the film has worked, or these films have worked, the factors are so clear to me. You need a visionary. You need, like, what are the ingredients, right? You need a Ryan Coogler. You need the visionary, and then the visionary will bring in the voices that are often not celebrated, but that are excellent. So then you need the Ruth Carters, and you need the Neil Friends, and these are all women in Autumn. These are all women that he brought in that were excellent at what they did and underseen. But now, they've shined so bright, and they've broken barriers, they've broken ceilings, they've brought other women in. And I just remember, the power of in one sense, you're amazed by how the film did so well the last time, and how it's being received again. But in another sense, it makes sense, because at the end of the day, everybody's just, the excellent people that are together making this thing are at their core just humble storytellers. I remember there was a scene we shot, and I was wearing these boots that me and Ruth loved, just love these boots. And Ryan was cool with them, so we're like, yes. And then she said, Danai. After the first take, she goes, Danai, what story are we telling though? And I said, Ruth, he's good. Nate's good. What's the problem? She's like, all right. And I just had a moment. I said, yeah, you just malfunctioned. We good. Next take, she comes back. is like that sort of humble storytelling. So she was like, maybe you should just be wearing flip-flops. I said, flip-flops? We found a medium ground. I had to agree with her because she was right, and that's sort of storytelling we're dealing with. And it's not about, ooh, let's look sharp and shiny. Yes, Wakandans are naturally that as well, and she's amazing at that. But she's looking at the story first, and that's everybody. And when you're in that type of company, when you're around people, who, Ryan talks about us sometimes like saying, let's look at the words, or like, can we talk about this or whatever. That's because he loved having those sort of interactions with us because we were just trying to get to the story. It wasn't about anything else. It wasn't about, oh, let me come in here and show my stuff. It was like, how do we all get to that place together? And we all knew that place. And that, I'm so thankful for that type of community to have created, to have been a part of that community, to be a part of this with, because that at the core is why I think things get in the conversation. But at the core of it, it's this humble stories like that make things shine.
Letitia, what is it like being on the short list?
Oh, I didn't know I was on the short list.
Yeah, you know.
Just to champion what Danai said, again, being a part of this franchise at this level on this platform that has stories and characters of substance and excellence is literally one of the most proudest things that I could ever be a part of. So when you do see, I remember the first time I went onto, social media and so we got nominated for like 8 Oscars or something like that. And I was like, whoa, like we didn't do it for that. We did it to impact the culture. We did it for purpose and love and to be proud as, Africans. We did it for that. And again, we approach it the same. And for me, it feels like a beautiful, just a beautiful tribute to our brother, a beautiful opportunity for us to do something meaningful again. But it would be remiss of me not to honor my mom, Mama Angela, and her excellent performance. And everybody's amazing in this film, but I want to take this moment to honor Angela Bassett. I looked at the movie Akil and the Bee with her and Kiki Palmer, and that inspired me to become an actress. And when she's on set playing my mother, being my sister, being my friend, making me crack up laughing, and in the same breath giving the most excellent, profound performance that I am honored to even be in the same room to witness. I just want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for what you've given to us every day. I want to thank you for holding our hands when it's been tough.
The movie nights.
I want to thank you for...
She took out a whole movie theater and
just for us to go and have a good time.
Buy us with drinks.
Yeah.
Free us up.
And we have to give our flowers when it's time and necessary to. And she's a phenomenal woman, artist, and human being. And I'm so honored that you have played my mother, and I ain't never gonna have nobody else like you. So please, anyone who's responsible for any type of awards, my mother, her hands are very open, and give her everything. Oh yeah, everything.
Well, Letitia, you set that up well. And Angela, I mean, you've been on this road before, but
30 years ago, potentially. And you never think 30 years ago, I was nominated for What's Love.
That Oscar was yours, you're wrong. I was just discussing with my sister this weekend, that was your Oscar. But I have thoughts.
The universe has its own plans, you know, but it was, you know, you think, I might not have an opportunity. This is the opportunity. I may not have it again, but to have it once, what a joy. And to have an opportunity again to have, you know, a role and a character and a situation and comrades, it's just a dream. And to be blessed twice blessed. Same with Black Panther 1 and Black Panther 2. It wasn't by mistake or a miracle or happenstance. No, it's very intentional, and it's this one here, Ryan, and all that he assembled and all that he saw, and all that comes from here and from here and from here. So, you know, I feel all right about it.
And Ryan, it says a lot about you that as a director, who's also very much part of the conversation, does picture, does director, but also that you were able to get what you've been able out of the characters, you know, that you have. Talk about, you know, this experience this go around, and how does it feel?
Happy to. Happy to. Yeah. For me, the award, the gift, is like the opportunity to do this. You know, we had the DJ, right? I used to sit here when I was in film school and like come listen to professionals talk and think like, man, if I could ever have a chance to do just one of these things, you know what I mean? Just like make one feature, you know, like wouldn't that be like the best thing in the world? And this is my fourth one, you know what I mean? And you know, we made each time I made something, it's been the most important thing that I've ever done creatively, and I get to push myself and then we get to share it with the world. And this one, you know, after having lost our friend and our creative collaborator and trying to figure out how to move forward in a way that was honorable and honest, I got this amazing opportunity to tell this story of these women, fictional though they may be, you know. What an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, what an opportunity to go to work every day and think about my mom and my wife, my grandmother, my daughter, you know what I mean? As a man, like who that's how I identify it, you know, like as a man who's limited to my own perspective, I found it it's exhilarating, you know, and to watch these women work, these professionals, like who you know, I grew up as an athlete, but I felt like I was playing like in the All-Star game every day, you know what I'm saying? And it was that, like they could come do an insert shot, you know what I mean? And they'll look at me and say, hey, I'm gonna pick this up like this, I'm thinking this, you know, and it's like, yeah, boom, when I'm watching it, it's like, shit, we making a movie, you know what I'm saying? Every time, you know, like they show up in their costumes and they talk to me about, hey, Ryan, man, this one line, I'm gonna go over here and do this thing. And a part of me is there at work, but another part of me is like, they look so great right now that kids are gonna dress up as them in about a year. You know what I'm saying? You know, they don't even realize. You know, they just talking like, hey, I'm gonna hold this ear like this, I'm gonna grab this thing, you know. And I'm like, man, I got this front row seat at my dreams coming true every day. You know what I'm saying? Like so for me, like any kind of award or list or anything like that, it's great. It's like icing on the cake for the real thing. I try not to let it distract. You know what I'm saying? From the fact that, and this was the biggest award possible. We just got to make this thing and share it. You know what I'm saying? And if it moves people enough that they think about it, like when it's time to, man, it's amazing. Yeah.
So, for each of you, what footage do we want to see that's not in the movie that we want to see in the home entertainment package? Letitia?
Ooh, come back to me. I'm thinking.
Okay.
answer this. I'm very, I like to. Ryan?
No, I'm not the one to tell you. I mean, you go. Like,
No, I just don't know if we're allowed to talk about stuff that's on the movie.
yeah. It's a great scene. Okay.
Yeah, there's one that was already talked about. You guys, Nate already talked about it in the press. The one that, I think the one you're about to talk.
Yeah.
He's already put it on.
This woman said not the same thing.
You might never, ever see it.
It's coming.
Just know. How are you gonna see it?
These scenes are coming though, right? They coming like next year's time. They come out. Yeah, but it was a great scene. It was.
Say it.
You gotta cut these scenes, man. It mean a lot to you. It was a lot of them that were really great that didn't make it to the movie. It was one when Okoye, after she gets fired, tries to go live anyway.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
It's a really good scene that y'all have seen in a few, weeks or months. Yeah.
It was very simple, but really cool. It was a beautiful moment of just being in one of Shuri's ships, going from the lab to the bush, and she was just driving with her mother through the Golden City, and whilst we were doing this, I was like, bro, can we get some music? He's like, what you want to listen to? I was like, Thames. He's like, okay. And he's just like, yo, I got that exclusive Thames. And I was like, you got Thames for the movie? He's like, don't say nothing. So that was a beautiful moment, and just seeing, just being next to Mama Ange again, and just like vibing with her in the car, and like introducing her to some music. He's like, this is coffee, but this is Thames, you know. So that was a beautiful moment, right?
There's one at the end where Okoye's, she actually appears to her but she comes to her in Haiti real quick, and they just have a moment, and she just walks off, and we don't know where she's going next. Let that one out too.
And Angela?
Haiti was a lovely moment, yeah, and it was with, they had to switch it around, but with T'Challa's baby boy, that was delightful. It was a sweet moment. It was like, what?
Say Haiti again. Haiti. I tell you, it's so African, I swear. I love it. Haiti. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Danai Gurira, Letitia Wright, Wakanda Forever.